Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 7 o'clock and other people may be joining us very soon. I wanted to welcome all of you to the introduction to the Oxford African American Studies Center program. And my name is Amy Newmark. I'm a reference librarian at the Cary Memorial Library in Lexington. So thank you for making time to come tonight on a beautiful spring, almost spring night to learn about this program. It's a new subscription for the library, and I've been exploring it and learning about it myself. I still feel like there's more things I could learn about it, but I'm really eager to share it with you. And I hope that when you explore it yourself, you'll find it useful for all kinds of reasons. I particularly want, I don't know if he's on yet, but I particularly want to thank Hill Snellings, who first suggested having a program like this. I really appreciate that he let me know that it would be nice to have this program be offered and be together to explore it. So the plan for tonight is that I'm going to give an overview of the African American Studies Center and do some demonstrations about how to access features and content so that whatever your need is, you'll be able to find what you want. And once we're finished here, you'll be able to view this video later on, so you can watch it again. And the reference team at the Cary Library is more than happy to have your calls and help you through it too, okay? Okay, now in terms of terminology, because the Oxford African American Studies Center is a mouthful, I will probably refer to it as the AASC, which is a little easier, or even just the database or the program. So you'll know what I'm talking about if I say those. Now, one point that I wanted to make is that because this is a subscription for us, our vendor requirements are that we provide access to anyone who is in the library. So if you come to the library, you automatically have access. And to anyone who lives or works in Lexington. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to give us a call. If you are using home access, you're going to need your library card. So you want to have that available. You're going to be asked for it. It's on the back of your card. It's 14 digits, and you just enter it without any spaces, just the numbers. So I think we're going to go ahead and hop in. I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you how we get into the program, all right? All right, and I'm going to give it just a second here to make sure that everybody is seeing it. I hope you are. So this is the Cary Library's homepage, and you are going to get your access through our website. So the first thing you want to do is go up here and enter carylibrary.org as the URL. And then you're going to see these navy blue tabs across the top of your screen. And the one that you want is Collections and Resources. And then you're going to choose Online Resources, which shouldn't be too hard to remember because this is an online resource. And once you click that, if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a lot of different categories. And every online resource that we have, every digital resource is clustered into some kind of category. And the AASC is actually in 4 categories, and you can get into it through any of those. So the first one is it's under encyclopedias and reference. It's in history and genealogy. It is in social justice, and it is in social science. So I'm going to go ahead and click on social science. We've got some other databases. These are all in alphabetical order. So I'm going to scroll down to O for Oxford and click on that. And this is the point at which, if you are accessing this from home, you will be asked for your library card number. So yeah, it's not happening right now because I'm in the library, but you will be asked for your number. All right, and you will see Cary Memorial Library as the sign-in over here. So before we jump into the mechanics of it, feel free to take notes, but I do want you to know that there are 2 ways that you'll be able to remember all of the things that I'm going to go through. One is that up here in the customer service tab, on the top right, they do have a help section. And the first thing in the help section is a 6.5-minute video that quickly goes through all of the primary tools and resources and shows you how to do some searches. So that's good if you want to, remember the basics. And then this video, as I said, is being recorded. And when we're finished and it has been edited, we send the link to the video to everyone who registered for the program. So everything that we're going to do in the next hour will be there, and you can watch it as many times as you want. All right. Okay. So I think now I'm going to say a little bit about what the African American Studies Center is. If I go up to the About tab, you'll see that it pulls up a whole list of other named sources. And first I want to mention that the editor-in-chief of this program is Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. I hardly think that he needs an introduction. You probably know who he is. And he's in charge of this whole thing. And what he did and what the other editors have done is brought together all of these core resources that you see here in blue into one product. There are a few other records that they bring in occasionally from other Oxford digital resources. If there's one record about something that seems to apply to this that they want to include. But these are the ones that are really make up the core content of what we're going to be looking through. There are 4 biography sources and there are 4 encyclopedia sources. And the way it works is that when you do a search, you're not going to know which of these you're searching through. It's all merged into one thing. These are all under the hood, so to speak, running the engine, and it all is seamless to the user. But we did want you to see what actually is going into it. Now, one of the beauties of this product is not only how many sources have been brought into it and how they've been collected, but the fact that it's all here in one place and it's searchable, and to bring together so much scholarly content is absolutely wonderful, and I can't wait to show it to you. Included in this product are articles, biographies, photographs, videos, maps, timelines, photo essays, primary sources, and lesson plans. So there's a lot of content there and a lot of different things that you can do with it. And most of all, this product makes ways for you to, or allows you to make connections by putting together these elements that I just named and providing ways to fully explore a topic through guideposts that I'm going to show you. So there's many ways to access information. There isn't just one way. So as you get used to using it, you'll see that you can get at something a couple of different ways. But I'm going to go through all the main ways just so you can see how it works. So first of all, if you click on the logo, that is the official homepage of the AASC, and that's where we're going to start from. So this white box right here is where you do a keyword search. And the keyword search is the simplest way. There's also an advanced search, which I'll show you. And there are also some words over here, subject, occupation, and era, which are very useful for browsing content. But we're going to start with the keyword search. It's very similar to a library catalog. You can put in the name of a person, the name of a place, the name of an event, really anything, any word that you can think of that you want to start with. Now, for convenience and familiarity, I'm going to start with a search that is in that little video that this product supplies, the little short video. So I'm going to just type in here, let me click on it, Frederick Douglass. And you can either press enter or you can click on this little search icon over here. All right. Now, if we look up at the top, I'm going to highlight this right here. You can see that we came up with 1,162 results. So you have to realize, and you may already know this from searching in a catalog, that the way they do it is that they take the word Frederick and they take the word Douglas and they give you back all of the results that have those words in them. So there are some other Fredericks and there are some other Douglases, and there are people whose names are Frederick, Douglas, something else. So some of those, you'd probably want to filter out. One way to do that is you could also go, well, I'm going to show you down here. See where it says term Frederick Douglass over here on the left sidebar. If you put it in quotes and then you redo the search, it will filter a little bit, but it's not that much different than what we're getting here. So what I want to show you is that over here on the left where it says modify your search, there are many different filters for filtering down your results for something that you really can handle more easily rather than going through 1,000-something records. So you can add other terms by clicking on this add term box. So you might want Frederick Douglass and something else or somebody else. You can choose between formats. This database offers you the choices of just a plain article or a primary source. The primary sources are sometimes images of the primary source and sometimes transcriptions. You can choose the type. It could be a biographical article about Frederick Douglass or a subject article where his name appears and he certainly has something to do with it, but it isn't a biography of him. You can choose to see articles, only the articles that have images associated with them. You can choose a life event and signify a particular date or date range. You can also combine this term with a different subject, different kinds of occupations, and different eras. So I'm going to choose, just as an example, let's keep it simple. Let's say that I wanted to just see the primary sources about Frederick Douglass. So I click on the little box, click update, give it a second, and now you can see that we have 37 results. So that's much more manageable. And you can also look over here on the right-hand side, and you can see that each article has a little box next to it that says primary source. So let me just click into one just so you can see what it's like. Here's a letter from Frederick Douglass to William Lloyd Garrison in 1846. And what you get in these primary sources is a little summary of what the primary source is about, and then it dives right into it. And as I said, in this instance, this is a transcription. It's not an image of the actual letter, but sometimes you do get that. All right, and then we can back out again. I'm just going to move back. And if you want to take off the primary sources and go back to the results that you had, you just unclick it and then update again. Okay. So let's go into a typical record, not necessarily a primary source. You can see that this one says article. So you click on the name, and you get some very brief information under the person's name about what they were in life and when they lived. Under that is the name of the author of this article. This DOI, if you're not familiar with that, stands for Digital Object Identifier. And that's a way it's sort of like having a permanent URL. URLs come and go, and you've probably seen broken links all over the internet, but the DOI is permanent. And if you want to send this, say, to a class or a group of students and say, I want you to read this article, as long as they have access through a subscription to this database, it will take them right to this record. So it's nice to embed those in some instructions or something like that. Then you can see underneath that when this article was first published in print, when it was published in line, and below that you see where it first appeared. So if you remember the 8 original sources that I told you about, this is where it tells you where it first came from. As you go down and start reading in the article, you will see some links. These are embedded links that give you further content within the AASC that relate to the article that you're in. So we've got here the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, a novella. It might be a person, it might be a place, you know, it could be anything depending on what the author wanted. At the end of each article, you'll see a bibliography that was used by the author. So if you want to follow up on those resources, you can. And then there's also at the very bottom what we call a See Also, where there are links. A lot of these links are in the article itself, but this is a full list of other people, places, or articles that would relate to this one that you might want to use as well to expand your search. Okay, now let's go back, and I'm just going to click back onto the main page, and we're going to show you about an advanced search. I'm just trying to clear this one. Give it a second. There we go. All right, now in truth, an advanced search is not very different than a keyword search. If you're just putting in a name or a simple phrase or something like that, it's going to get you to the same place. You'll be able to use all those same filters. I'm going to try to show you with one particular example. If I do the keyword box and I type in the word slavery, you can see up here at the top that I have 4,029 results, and it has popped that word that I used into this box right here, and I have access to all of these filters on the left-hand side that I showed you before. All right, but let's clear that and try it with the advanced search. And in this case, here's the advanced search, and I'm going to put in that same term, slavery, and I'm going to click update. And here are those same 4,029 results. So you can see it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen the other. You can use the keyword or you can use the advanced search. But what the advanced search is really good for, I believe, is when you don't have a specific keyword to use, that you want to kind of browse around or see what's in a certain section, just to, you know, kind of scope out where something is. So in that case, you don't have to put in a keyword. You could just click the advanced search, and maybe you want to see, you say, well, I'm really interested in primary sources, so I don't even care what they're about right now. I'm just going to click on this and click update, and we can already see that there's going to be 714 results. So all of these, as you look down at these gray boxes, are primary sources, but they're about all different kinds of things. So let's say we want to combine this with another filter. So I'm going to go over here to science and medicine, and why don't I pick health and medicine? And now we have 30 results. That's very, very manageable to go through. So if you're interested in a particular era, a particular subject, you want to combine it with a term or a person, these are the ways that you filter down larger results to get more at what you're really looking for. All right, and also on this page, the home page, there are these 3 words that you probably remember from down here: subject, era, and what was the other one? Subject, era, oh, and occupation. So these are all the same as in the filters, but this gives you an easy way to look at all of them and decide if you want to explore that particular area. You can choose a particular subject. There's a lot of different occupations here that you can choose from, and some of these have sort of subcategories as well, as we saw with medicine and science, and or era. It starts with before 1400 and goes all the way to the present time. All right, so those are the homepage, the main homepage features. There's a few more I just want to show you down here. I clicked back on the logo to get to the homepage. As articles are being written, they often feature a couple of them on this homepage. So, and I'm not saying that it's a more modern a more modern time they talk about in the article. It's just that the article was recently written and published here. So these are two examples. If you click on them, you'll go to those articles, and these change, frequently over time. They also have blog articles, and these can be, it's a great variety. Sometimes it's, topical to the time, such as 9 books to read for Black History Month. But you can just browse those, and those change frequently also. Then they have here an update of new entries that have come into the database. And they do this 3 times a year. Looks like January, May, and September, or October for the most part. So here is a description of the 5 new entries to the database that they put up in January of 2024. And one way you can look for new content is to go back to the filters that I showed you and just filter by a publication range. So maybe you want everything from 2020 to 2024. You can also access them over here by choosing one of these months and years. I'm trying not to go through this too quickly because I don't want it to be overwhelming, but there's so much to show you, and I do want to get through a lot of things. So all of those things that we've looked at so far are things that you can access from the main homepage of the AASC. But now I'm going to go to a tab that they have called Tools and Resources, and I want to highlight a few of those for you. And my understanding, if I got this right, I'm not positive about timelines, but these 3 things over here on the left side, focus on lesson plans and timelines. I believe that the content of these was made at a different time from the rest of the database. These are more modern things. And those are available free without worrying about what library you're at or whether you have a card or anything, or wherever you are. Anyone can access those at any time. So let me start with the first one, which is called Focus On. And Focus On offers photo essays on particular topics, as well as subject links to related content and biographies. And they're over here on all the titles are on the left sidebar. If you scroll through, I mean, these are just the A's, it goes from A to Z. So there's a lot of them. So just to show you an example, I'm going to pick this one, the 1963 March on Washington. And all of the Focus On essays are photo essays. So you are going to see a lot of photos in them as well as text. The first thing that you get is a summary of what the photo essay is about. Then there are also, as I said, this product helps you make connections between multiple things. So they give you some subject entries for additional articles and other things. It might be a primary source, it might be an essay, it might be an article. It might be a video. It also gives you biographies of people who either appear in the photo essay or have something to do with the topic. And they give you some primary source documents if there are some. So let's just, for an example, let's try one of the subject entries. If I click on this one, March on Washington, 1963, it gives you an idea of, again, of the author and what it's about. And this one's a good example of how they use multimedia, because we have text here, we have clickable links to other content, we have photos. When it says open a new tab, it does open it up. It's not particularly large, but it's larger than it would be in the other in the main article. I just have to get back to my whoops. Let me just see if I can get back here. Well, okay. Sorry. I've lost my tab, I think. Let me see if I can get it back by doing this. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to zip right back into it and show you where we were. Let's go back to tools and resources, back to focus on. It's probably good that these things happen because then you can see how easy it is to get back into it. All right, March on Washington. So we were at the photo essay, featured articles, subject entries. All right, so I guess I won't click on a new tab because it's gonna mess it up there. But you can see what I mean. This is almost half links. So you can go through and choose any of them that you want for additional content. There is a video with this one. Okay, so you've got all kinds of things in these focus on essays. And with the other articles, you also have a See Also list where you can connect this content with other articles within the AASC for whatever topic you're looking at. All right, now these, as I said, these are it's almost like the focus on is a standalone product. It isn't really integrated with the first articles that we saw. And so therefore you will not be able to do a search in the keyword or the advanced search that will bring up one of these focus on essays as a result. For example, if I scroll down here, you know, there is a photo essay on Black Lives Matter. But if you scroll up to the top and you type in Black Lives Matter, this will not appear. So always think about focus on as another way to search for content, because there might be something there that you don't find through a regular search. This is just one of the things that happens when they took different products and put them together into one big thing. All right, if we go back to the Tools and Resources tab, we did the focus on. Now I want to show you something about the lesson plans. Now, these lesson plans are created by teachers who are already using the AASC with their high school or college students. And let's look at one just as an example. This one is called, we're going to start saying Black Power. Again, you see the author of the lesson plan and where that person is from. And down here, who the intended audience is. This particular set of lesson plans is for high school students. I imagine that some of this content would be appropriate for upper middle school, but for the most part, I would say upper middle through college or university. Then there is an introduction to, I mean, each one is different because each person did their own lesson plan and there isn't like a template for that. So each one is a little bit different, but they all have an introduction letting you know what the lesson plan is about, what it's going to cover. There are objectives, so you know what you want to accomplish with the lesson. Then there are different sort of subunits. In this first one, there's a summary here of what this section is going to be about. There are particular documents that the teacher wants to use with the students in this unit. There are activities for students and guiding questions. Each lesson plan, I looked through a few of them, you know, each one is a little bit different, but they're all very organized and sort of lay out the whole thing for you. And then here they go on to the second section. This particular lesson plan has four units in it. Okay, now let's go back to the tools and resources. So we've completed the focus on, we've looked at the lesson plans. Now let's look at the timelines. These are actual timelines, just sort of briefly laying out things that happened in history. Up to 1700 is one category, then we sort of jump by centuries, and the 1900s are split into two different sections. Let's use an example of within the up to 1700s. It actually starts way back at 4 million BCE, before Common Era, and makes its way rapidly through ancient Egypt into, I guess I would call them more modern centuries, the 1200s, the 1300s, the 1400s. And you can see that a lot of these have these read more links embedded in them. Not all of them, like this one doesn't have one. And if you click on that, it will open up an article about that moment in time or that event in time to an article that someone has written about that. So let's use one as an example. I think I had one down here. So this is about the first slave insurrection in Spanish America. And I'm going to click on the read more. Slave rebellions in Latin America and the Caribbean. So here again, we have the author, when it was published. It came from Africana, the Encyclopedia of the African and African American Experience. And then you get, again, sort of a summary, and then you have the rest of the essay, also with embedded links, Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Guyana. Sometimes they're places, sometimes they're people, sometimes they're other events or topics. Here, I want to show you, oh, also I wanted to mention this, that at the end, they do give a conclusion to the article. And as we've seen with other articles, there's a bibliography and a see also list. And before we leave this page, I wanted to show you, I'm going to just use this as an example of how you would save or share information that you see here. So up at the top, I hope you can see these little icons. There's a little row of icons. The first one, it's hard to make out, but this is for downloading, saving, or printing a PDF. So if you want a PDF of this article, you can do that with this button. Then there's another button right next to it that looks like a little disc, and that allows you to save this article to a personal profile. What a personal profile is a little account that you have inside of this database. And it allows you to save content. You might save whole articles. You might save just a couple sentences or a few paragraphs. You might want to save an image. These are places that you can save this content for yourself to review later. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to go up to the top of the page here and click on Personal Profile. And if you do not have one yet, you want to click on this link that says Create a Personal Profile. And it's going to ask you for your first name, your last name, your email address, and create a password. Click on I'm Not a Robot. I think you might also have to go through that process where you see some photos and you have to tell them how many of those have bicycles in them or something like that, and then create. Then you'll have your own personal profile. And anytime you want to save information, it will be stored there. So I do have a personal profile myself. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it in. So I'm going to put in my username, which is my email. And my password. And then sign in. And so this is an article that I have, so now I'm in. The reason that this part of this article is highlighted is because I have already saved it somewhere. And I just want to go, if I go into my personal profile and say View Personal Profile, you can see that I have saved this article in a format, in this format previously. I saved it for a few days ago. One other thing that you can do is you can just highlight a little bit. Let's say I just wanted this little bit here, and then a little annotate box will pop up down at the bottom with the text that you have highlighted, and you can add a comment. So I'm just going to say, this is my annotation for now. All right, then you hit save, and that will also be saved in your personal profile. So if we go back now to my personal profile and view it, you can see that I have saved 2 annotations. This was a previous one, and this was the one that I just made now. And I look back up here and I can see all of my saved content which is this one. They both came from the same article. So here is that article that I've been saving. So I did talk to our sales representative, and she said that these articles and annotations that you save to your personal profile are basically saved indefinitely as long as you have access to the program. So they can, you know, if you're doing research, if you want to save things, it sounds like you can save them for quite a long time and they'll still be there for you to go back to. All right, I think that's about it for now. Are there any more questions?
No questions at the moment.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to unshare my screen then. And I'd like to just sort of wrap things up by telling you two things. One is that the editors of the AAC are actively looking for people to submit articles and research that they have done. And if that is something that you would be interested in exploring with them, I'm going to provide you the contact information when we send you the link to the video. So you can have that and you can talk to them if you'd like about getting your own research into this product. Also, the last thing I want to talk about is subscriptions, because there are personal, school, library, and nonprofit institutional subscriptions that you can get to this product. And I was told, for instance, right now, a personal subscription is $179 a year. The others vary a lot depending on the kind of place that your organization is and where you are and so forth. And I will also send contact information for those with the link as well. So that's it pretty much for me. I hope that you will try this out and explore it and let us know if you have any questions. If there's any last question now, I'm happy to answer it. But otherwise, I think we're done. Okay, good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.